Hey, Leilani with the Magical Solution here, and I wanted to come on to answer a question that I get asked a gazillion times a day, and that is, where do I start with Espiritismo? Do I start with my ancestors? Do I make an altar? Do I find a mentor? The list goes on and on. So I'm hoping I can give you a couple of things you can do to start your journey onto Espiritismo. The very first thing that I am going to recommend is to read the codices. Read the codices. It surprises me every single day of my life how many people who are in this community who do not read the codices, have not read the codices, don't know the codices, or were never taught the codices. So this is not to say that Espiritismo has any type of Bible or any type of strict format, but it does have its roots in spiritualism and spiritism. And so you first have to learn the roots of it and then come into the rest of it. So my first suggestion to you is to go and read the codices, okay? The wonderful thing about that is that on my YouTube channel, I read the codices out loud for you, and I interpret it for you. All you got to do is just sit and watch. That's it. Leave comments if you have any questions or if you didn't understand something, and I answer them for you, right? But ultimately, you want to look up a couple of authors that I will list here. Obviously, the next thing you're going to want to do is get yourself comfortable with sitting in meditation and in contemplation and in prayer for at minimum 10 minutes. Start practicing that and start practicing that now. Probably the most important thing, and it's going to be something that you're probably going to struggle with your entire life, and that is overcoming fear. We are now, or you, better yet, you are now entering the commitment of Espiritismo, which is you're entering a world now where you are going to be interacting with spirits. Legit interacting with them, okay? Once you start this journey and you start opening up your mediumship and you start really exercising these muscles, the experiences you're going to start having are going to be unlike anything you've ever had before. The spirits that you are going to perceive through your mediumship and psychic faculties and all that needs to be understood first on an intellectual and emotional level before you try and understand it on a physical level. And I say this so that you can demystify the process and overcome fear. Remember, demystifying something doesn't take the magic away. It removes the fear. Then you are going to want to create for yourself a small place in which you can sit undisturbed, again for a minimum of 10 minutes, undisturbed, in peace and in quiet, in a clean environment where you can tune in to your higher self, to God, and to your primary spirit guide. This space doesn't necessarily have to be an altar yet. We'll talk about that maybe in some other video. But it is going to be a space that you need to dedicate consistently and routinely at least 10 minutes of your time in that type of contemplation, meditation, and prayer. The biggest misconception that a lot of people have about Espiritismo is that you have to start with your ancestors. And those are people who do not know the roots of Espiritismo. There are no ancestors in Espiritismo, at least at its core. The dead and the ancestors come in later, okay? But when you are first starting out, you do not want to start out with your ancestors. You want to start out with your higher self. You want to start out with your ori. You want to start out with your crown. You want to start out with your highest spiritual being, your soul, okay? And being in this space at your quote unquote white table, right? Your little altar with a glass of water and a white candle is a space that is supposed to be for your spiritual development with the guidance of your primary spirit guide and God. Nothing else, at least not yet. The next thing I would definitely advise you to do as a newcomer into Espiritismo is to start journaling, okay? When you spend time at your little white table, at your little altar, at your little space with your glass of water and your white candle, you will be receiving downloads. You will be having conversations with your higher self. You will be interacting with your primary spirit guide. And this information, these epiphanies, these downloads need to be recorded for your development so that you can see your progress firsthand. Because at the end of the day, this is about progress. This is about elevating yourself and preparing the body to become a clear vessel for spirit communication. We don't ever start off someone just immediately start communicating with spirits or immediately start working with your ancestors. We don't do that. We have to start them off with self-development and self-progression first and really developing those mediumistic abilities. So journaling will help you to see that progress in real time, which will be really, really helpful for your confidence. It'll be really helpful in terms of empowering yourself and helping yourself to stay on the path and to stay diligent, because you start to see your growth, and it's really exciting to see. Once you feel confident and you feel good, now it's time to reach out to community. This can be online or in person. You're going to want to go to different misas. You're going to want to experience different types of Espiritismo because there are so many types, right? You're going to want to go to these places to see how they conduct these rituals and these messages. You're going to want to see how spirit enters the place. You're going to want to feel those things and experiment with your faculties and your senses, right? This is really important so that you can compare and contrast public ritual versus when you are at home by yourself. Going to these public events will also give you an opportunity to meet elders, to meet mentors, to meet teachers. And in those opportunities, you can even shop around for a mentor yourself. If that's the case, if that's the way you want to take it, that would be your next step, is to then find a guide, find a teacher, find a mentor who's in the Espiritismo community, who can then bring you into the next steps. And the next steps are going to be things like creating a larger altar, understanding the spirits that walk with you, identifying the spirits that walk with you with the help of that mentor and of the community that you maybe enjoy being around. All of the mediums in that community will assist you in identifying who walks with you, but you must always go home and do it on your own, because at the end of the day, you might get someone who tells you you have this spirit, and then you go home and you work on it and you work on it and you work on it and you realize you don't really have that spirit. That just wasn't accurate, right? So again, this idea of being in public spaces and comparing and contrasting for when you are on your own, these things are important for your own personal growth and your own discernment, and to be able to understand emotionally, mentally, and spiritually what is yours and what is others. I think that's it for now. I think those are a lot of steps for a newcomer anyway, so I'll stop there. But if you want to know more, or if you say to yourself, wow, I've already done all of this stuff, I think I'm on to the next step now, by all means, let me know. I offer a lot of intermediary classes and a lot of advanced classes, as well as an Espiritismo online community that you can be a part of to help develop yourself in safe space. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. This is how we grow.